like I like this concept of diving into consciousness. I'm not sure, and I got it that I am consciousness and to stop the search. I really like that. But when you said stop being conscious of and just dive into it, I mean,
No,
my
no,
mind went,
no, no. Hold on. I'm, if that's what you thought I said, that's not what I meant.
oh,
Yeah, it's not a choice to stop being conscious of. What you find is by diving into that consciousness itself, the direct experience of consciousness itself, yeah, the being consciousness of stops. It's not a
right.
choice. It's not, oh, I now have to try and, because that would still be the me. That would still be the mind
What I was thinking,
trying to assert its will over this.
yes, thank you for
Yeah,
clarifying that.
yeah, yeah. So it's need to be careful with this because if we haven't truly, absolutely, with no doubt, come to see what we are not, right? If we don't fully come to see that, yeah, then what we are not is then going to attempt to dive into consciousness and experience that.
Yes.
And it'll experience it as a concept. It won't be a direct experience. Yeah?
And I would say the times when I've directly experienced it, it has been my thoughts that have interrupted that. You know, thoughts just come in and, grasping, I want more of that, or I've had this, so it becomes like ego driven, like, there's attachment and I completely lose the experience.
Yeah.
So,
You don't lose the experience. All that happens is it just gets veiled by mind.
Yeah. And
What
I write that down. It gets completely distracted and overtaken by mind.
Now, what is it that feeds the mind?
Thoughts. My thoughts feed, what feeds the mind?
Mm.
That's a good question. What feeds my mind?
Yeah.
A sense of separateness. If I think of I and my identity or my ego, that I'm not sure. To be honest, Terrence, I'm not sure.
Oh, that's music to my ears.
Right. Okay. I'm not even going to pretend to say I know the answer.
Yeah, we absolutely, like, if we don't know, we've got to say, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's fantastic that we don't know. Yeah. But we don't realize. Like, I can tell you right now, I haven't got a clue. I have no idea. None. I have no idea. Yeah.
They just are. Like my thoughts just are. And you mentioned it earlier that they're, I don't know why they happen, or I don't seem to have any control over them. They just are.
Okay.
I mean, I practice not being attached to them, but they just are there.
All right. So let me tell you a little story, and I'm trying to use this story as a pointer. Okay.
Mm.
So we've got a guy. He's a carpenter. Yeah. And he's up on a roof of a house that he's been working on. He's up on the roof and he's nailing timber together. I'm not a carpenter, so I just have to, yeah. But he's on the roof and he's nailing timber together for the roof, yeah. Struts and beams, and that's about the extent of my knowledge of carpentry. And he's on the roof. He's hammering away, and he's bloody pounding these nails into the timber, yeah. Let's just assume it was before nail guns came along. Yeah. He's on the roof, and he's been doing this for years. Second nature. Doesn't even have to think about really what he's doing. Just like when we drive a car, when we've been driving forever, the body just seems to drive it. Yeah.
Automatic pilot.
Yeah. So he's on the roof in automatic pilot. But in his mind, what his wife told him that morning as he was walking out the door to go to work was that she's been having an affair with the neighbour. Okay. Now, the guy on the roof has been married to his wife for 20 years. They've got 4 kids, 5 kids, family, white picket fence, the whole shazam. Yeah. And the guy's on the roof, nailing away, and he is mortified from what his wife told him that morning as he's walking out the door to go to work. Yeah. And you can imagine what, especially a guy, right? You can imagine what would have been going through his mind. Where do I get my hands on that neighbour? That neighbour that I've loaned my barbecue to, I've loaned him this, I've helped him do this, and like that, they've been neighbours for 20 years. Yeah. And he's just this revenge. And I want to kill her too, and I want to kill him, and then he goes into a story about, what's wrong with me? Like, why doesn't she love me? Why did she have to do that? Yeah. And then the big story will get made up. Yeah. Maybe I'm not satisfying her sexually, all that stuff. Yeah. And his mind is just going off. Okay. And he's hammering away. And all of a sudden he goes, bang, and he smashes his thumb. Like smashes his thumb. Flattens his thumb, if you can imagine. He's hit it so hard. Yeah. Where's his attention going to go to in that moment?
His thumb.
What's going to happen to the story that was going on in his head?
It stops with the pain of the thumb.
Yeah, good. So the attention shifted from where to where?
Thought to body, thumb. No. Oh,
yeah, that's good enough.
The moment, that moment.
Yeah. In that moment, what occurred? You're right. What you said, just say it again. You're right.
Well, it goes to his thumb. So it goes from thought to the physical body, like that moment.
Good. Yeah. So it goes from being aware of this or being conscious of this that was going off. Yeah. Bang. The attention gets completely shifted off the mind down to the thumb. Bang. And when that occurs, all of this, even if it's for a moment, disappears.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, I don't know, 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 seconds later, when he's kind of starts to get over the shock that he's just smashed his thumb, yeah, then the story will kick back in again, but it'll be added to. Now look what she's made me do. Right? But why did I tell that story? Yeah. I asked you, what is it that fuels thoughts?
Feelings? No.
What happened in that story I just told you? What happened?
Well, he was obsessed. Like he had these obsessive thoughts going on.
Good.
And it moved to his thumb when he hurt his thumb. So
what moved to his thumb?
Awareness.
Attention.
Attention. Yeah, attention.
Or awareness, if you like.
Yeah, so if you give your thoughts attention, you just feed them.
And it's not even, it's not, you don't even have a choice over that.
No.
It's,
And I've
but it,
experienced that,
yeah,
those obsessive thoughts, where I've gone, I feel like I cannot, even with some awareness, I can look and go, I cannot, I'm struggling to let go of this today.
okay. So what's important there isn't, oh, okay, now all I've got to do is shift my attention. You can't do shit. You can't. What's important to see is that fuels thoughts is attention itself. If the attention does happen to shift by itself, that disappears.
Mm.
It disappears.
Mm.
Yeah. Now, which is kind of where Philip and I went for a moment. Yeah. To be aware of something, you've got to be separate from it. Can you see that, Trudy?
Yes, yes.
Totally
Yes.
can?
Yeah.
Good. So, are you aware of content of mind?
Yes.
Then it's not you.
That's right. I know that.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, then it comes down again to where I took Philip. Yeah. What is this that's aware of? Mind. Because this that's aware of mind is not in mind.
No.
It's aware of it. And anything you can be aware of is not you.
Yeah.
That's not rocket science. Yeah. But we don't we're not shown to look at it like this. Yeah. Anything you can be aware of. Your body, your thoughts, feelings in the body, the chair that you're sitting on, anything you can be aware of is not you. Yeah. So we must go through this process of coming to see what we are not. Yeah. What is it that produces a me? What is it that produces a me? What if I wipe out your memory, your me's gone.
That's right.
So all the me is thoughts.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what makes me feel like it's here, yeah, is thoughts hijack this presence awareness, yeah, and says, that's me. Yep, I'm aware. I'm conscious. I'm seeing, hearing, tasting, touching, smelling. Consciousness and awareness and the seeing, hearing, tasting, touching, smelling doesn't need the me. It's not dependent on the me at all. Yet me says, seeing, hearing, tasting, touching, smelling, consciousness, awareness, beingness is mine. Like it possesses it. Like it's mine. Really? Yeah. You just need to see what's happening, just how it functions, what's going on. Yeah. But more importantly, where this seeming me is produced. It's all in the mind. And the me is saying, I've had an experience of life. The me has never experienced anything, Trudy. The me doesn't experience. It's just pure experiencing, which has always been happening. But then the me will build a story around it. Or thoughts will build a story around it. Yeah. You know, like when this is truly seen, yeah, I laughed my head off when I saw, yeah, in regards to my own seeming past and my life, nothing ever happened. It would have to happen to a me, wouldn't it? Would it not? It would have to happen to a me. What's the me? Pattern of thoughts. What can happen to a pattern of thoughts? What can a pattern of thoughts actually experience? Was there experiencing that has been occurring since I was way back as I can remember? Yes, absolutely. But the experiencing doesn't complain, does it? The experiencing doesn't make up a story about experiencing. There's just experiencing. And the mind makes up a big story about it. Creates a me that then believes it's had the experience and the big story around the experience. It constantly changes. The mind constantly changes. You can wake up one morning and just feel great. You can wake up the next morning and feel flat. All based on what mind is saying, not the actual experience. Mind will call the experience all sorts of things. It's one experience. It'll call it love. It'll call it fear. It'll call it anxiety. It'll call it grief. It'll call it sadness. It's the one experience. It's the same experience. Mind just calls that experience a certain thing, and then mind believes it, and then decides that this experience, which is always the same, is either grief, happiness, sadness, loneliness, whatever, anxiety. Mind can't experience anger. The mind can't experience anxiety. The mind can't experience depression. It's a story created by the mind. All of it. If a thought can't experience anything, can it experience depression?
No.
You can't. Is there a but there?
But what is depression? I mean...
A bit louder, Trude.
But, okay, depression is a label that is thrown about in our society a lot. A lot of people talk about it.
Yeah.
So what is depression? Are you saying it doesn't exist? Or
Let's look at it, okay?
It's past my bedtime, Terrence.
I'm nearly finished, all right? So let's just say you've been experiencing depression your whole life. Yeah? Just happen to be a person like that. I'm not saying you are, but let's, for argument's sake, say you've been experiencing depression your whole life, all right? Fair enough? Okay.
Well, I can play that game.
Yep, good. Now, in fact, I could say that about myself because I did, yeah? Now, let's wipe out your memory.
No longer depressed.
Amnesia. Completely gone. Completely gone. What would there be to be depressed about? What is it that's creating the seeming depression?
It is just thoughts again.
Yeah.
It's thoughts.
It is, yeah. And what it does, yeah, it labels this presence. It labels it.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. The only thing that actually gets experienced is love. That's it. Mind will step in and call this experience of love, because it doesn't know any better. It can't experience this, what it really is. Yeah. It'll step in and now start calling the experience of love depression. What is it believes that? The mind. And then the mind paints this big story about what depression is. And then what is it that seemingly experiences the depression? The mind. But can the mind actually experience anything? No, nothing. It's completely imagined by mind. The whole thing, including me.